Some children grew up playing with sand, while others grew up under the spotlight. Regina was one of those children. She became a child star even before knowing who she was. While other kids played games, formed friendships, and watched cartoons, Regina has started reciting and learning her lines, standing before the camera and performing for the world to see. Her smile became her shield. The stage, will say, is now her second home. And applause became the sound of approval all around her. But the thing with her childhood fame is that when a child grows up too fast, the world forgets that she's still a child. This is because she takes up responsibilities before even understanding what innocence is. She begins to learn how to be perfect even before discovering her inner peace. So, what we saw was a Regina who has started taking up responsibility way ahead of her age. A Regina who is expected to be perfect and show a level of maturity at the expense of her inner peace. And what we didn't understand is that Regina will have to learn how to please others at the expense of her own peace, making us see a Regina that has become so sacrificial at the expense of her own self. So, Regina's parents divorced early in life. That could have been a fracture that never really healed in her life. We know that divorce affects children in silent ways we can never imagine. It's one of the worst things that could ever happen to a child, the separation of her parents. You might not see it in the tears she sheds, but it can affect the choices she makes in the future. Regina became a child left with an absentee father. She came under the guidance and the control of her mother. When love disappears from a home setting, children begin to look for it somewhere else. And for Regina, it began very early. She began to look for it through work, through validation, and through approval. For each role she played on the screen, it became a mirror of what she couldn't express off screen. This could be very confusing for a child, which could lead to loneliness, desire for other people to see her for who she really is. The world loved her so much. Regina was loved everywhere. She became the role model for so many young girls growing up. She was beautiful, she was talented, she was unstoppable. But behind this shiny, beautiful light, an innocent girl was fading away. So you see, when a child grows up performing for attention, for fame, for spotlight, after some time, it becomes very difficult for her to live without it. She can't separate the reality from what happens on stage. This has happened to so many others, child superstars all over the world. Someone like Britney Spears, who lost control of her life because she grew up under the glare of the spotlight. We have someone like Lindsay Lohan, who was so adored and celebrated, but after some time, she lost it. It was difficult for her to find her footing. Is it the legend Michael Jackson, who said he never had a childhood? Childhood is a time of freedom. It is a time of freedom away from the cares and worries of the world. And fame without freedom is like being inside a beautiful cage. Beautiful on the outside, and then on the inside, in the inside, it is empty. While Regina battled with all this, then came the marriage. This union shocked the whole world because of the complexities it came with. First, the age difference was staggering. But guess what? I get I don't think Regina really mind because I'm thinking in her mind it reminded her of a fracture that never really healed. An absent father, a male figure, a mentor that she had so longed for finally showed up. But the world saw it in a different way. Some saw it as security, while some saw it as a strategy. But in all this, she was being guided and perhaps under the control of a mother that wanted the best for her daughter. She didn't want her daughter to go through the struggles she went through. You know, a mother's dreams can be very heavy. In the process of trying to protect a child, you know, parents tend to make decisions for children, and in the process it just pushes them into things that were never supposed to be part of their story at all. Anyhow you see the arrangement for Regina, her fairy tale story began. A beautiful mansion, luxury cars, diamond rings, money, and a life that looked so perfect. But perfection is not peace, you know. Finally, one day, she posted this message she posted about don't comment if you okay, don't comment if you've never cried in a Ferrari, and if you can't afford this red dress. Yes, I think that said a lot about the fairy tale story everybody believed she was living, and the world mocked her. People said different things, but those who understood knew that money can't buy love. And I think Regina was at that stage of self discovery. Luxury can't replace self awareness, and comfort can't fill an empty heart. The thing again about growing up so fast is that eventually life begins to slow you down. Occurrences, things will begin to happen. You begin to see things that will make you start knowing what actually matters in life. You begin to realize that it's not material things. There are other things that are important. Things like family, friendship, love, peace of mind, most importantly. So I think at this point, Regina reached a place of self discovery after achieving this after being in this marriage that didn't give her the satisfaction she thought she would have. So Regina finally learned what is important in life. She began to learn what is real success in life. She now discovered that success is not what you are being given. It is actually the peace of mind you discovered by yourself. Nobody can give you peace of mind unless you decide to give yourself peace of mind. So, looking at Regina's life, there are so many lessons to be learned. Lessons for we, the parents, lessons for children, and lessons for every dreamer out there. Never trade a child's innocence for the world applause. Childhood is very important. Childhood is a foundation And if a child misses their foundation, it can echo through even into adulthood. Parents must guide their children and not live through their children. Remember, love that controls is not love at all. It is projection of oneself. Fame isn't freedom. Until you know this, your success will only amplify your confusion. Then finally, healing begins when you stop performing for the world, when you stop seeking attention. Healing begins when you begin to think inwardly and you start recognizing your own inner self and start feeling, because you can't truly be happy in the spotlight until you find inner peace when you are all alone in a dark shadow where nobody is seeing you. So, in all this that has happened to Regina, this might just be the beginning of a new life, of a new journey for her, a life of the rediscovery, a life of self awareness. Self awareness, not in wealth, not in luxury cars, but the courage to look into the mirror and ask herself, who am I when the cameras are off? To understand her mother's love, even if it looked misguided, to build her life not for validation, but for her own joy, to move on away from a man she looked up to and look at herself as the queen and not something or not a toy that someone can play with. She has a beautiful future ahead of her. So, rediscovery is not glamorous. Rediscovery is quiet. It's the moment when she realizes that peace is not popularity, but is the highest form of success. Gina's story is a story of pain, of power, forgiveness, and rediscovery. It's never too late to start up. It's never too late to rediscover who you are, because the real success in life is discovering that peaceful person you lost along the way in the search for fame and wealth. To every girl child who grew up too fast, this story is for you. You may not have had the childhood you deserve, but it's not too late to create an adulthood you need. It's not too late to take a pause, to take a break, to unlearn and begin to relearn and find a pathway, the true pathway to success. It's very possible. And that pathway is discovering who you really are without the influence of others. This is LadyBee Chronicles, where we share true stories about love, family, and self discovery. If you love stories that touch the heart, please subscribe, share, and like. Love you. Bye.